Great radio stations across the land, Newsmax TV, joepags.com. Glad to have you here. It is the Joe Pags Show for a Friday. And glad to have Eric Trump back on the line. Of course, the son of the Republican nominee for President of the United States, Donald Trump. Eric, how are you?
Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, man, listen, I need to know how you are physically. I mean, your family must be exhausted. You're going coast to coast every single day. How's it feeling out there?
Honestly, I feel great. I feel amazing. Certainly it's a slugfest, and that's how things go. But it's great. The amount of enthusiasm out there is incredible. I'm in Nevada right now, and I was just in Wisconsin, and I've been in Ohio and North Carolina and Colorado, and I mean, literally, it could not feel better. The amount of enthusiasm that's out there is great, and the amount of Democrats come up to me all the time and say, "Listen, I've been a Democrat my entire life, and I'm switching over to vote for your father because I'm sick of the nonsense, I'm sick of career politicians who have done a terrible job for our nation, our country." And people want this country back. People want to have a voice again, and they haven't had a voice in a very, very long time. And we're going to change that, and we're going to change it very, very quickly.
And I'm going to get into some of the details on that in a second, but I have to know, and I think that my viewers and my listeners want to know. Going in, what was your expectation, and how does it compare to now you're a week and a half before the election? Is it everything you thought it would be or completely different?
No, it's completely different. It's quite frankly a lot worse in so many ways. I mean, The one thing I've taken out of this process is really how corrupt the system is. And, I don't say that lightly. We're all, big boys and girls, and, we understand how the world works in so many regards. But the level of corruption that you see in Washington, D.C. is unbelievable. I mean, it's truly unbelievable. And people are seeing it when they look at Clinton Inc. and all this money that, they're siphoning into their own pockets. I mean, the Clintons have made $250 million on the backs of hardworking Americans, and it's incredibly, incredibly sad. I mean, they came out of the office claiming, the Oval Office claiming they were quote-unquote dead broke. Now they're worth $250 million.
Right.
And, as I always ask, I ask this every single day, multiple times a day, but what product were they selling in order to do that? And they certainly have not put the interest of this country first. And I was in Colorado all day yesterday, and I spent a day with Mark Geist, who you remember as the Benghazi survivor.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it's unbelievable. You see these Benghazi scandals, you see the email scandals, you see the WikiLeaks, right? What's coming out where they're making fun of evangelicals, they're making fun of Christians, they're making fun of Latinos, they're making fun of everybody. I mean, this stuff is awful. You see Donna Brazile, who's giving Hillary Clinton the questions to the debates ahead of time. I mean, can you imagine, Joe, if my father got the questions to the debate ahead of time? I mean, people's heads would explode. I mean, you look at Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton just got $1 million guitar for his birthday. They're not doing that because Bill Clinton has a charming personality. I mean, clearly, they want something and they want influence. And, you see the $66 million deal that just came out yesterday. It's terrible stuff, and people want their country back, and people want to end this corruption. And if there's one thing that shocked me, I think everybody realized that there's probably something here and there. I never realized it could be to this extent, and it is horrible stuff. I mean, it's just horrible stuff.
It's Eric Trump, the son of the Republican nominee for President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Let's look at these polls real quick. 2 weeks ago, your dad was down by 12, and I think in the Fox News, or no, it wasn't the Fox News poll. It was another poll, ABC poll. Now he's down by 6. He was down by 6 in the Fox News poll. Now he's down by 3. IBD has Clinton up by 3. The LA Times has your dad up by 2. Rasmussen has Clinton up by 1. All this is within the margin of error. The AP somehow, Eric, has your dad losing by 14, and the race is over. So you're seeing a level of collusion in the media, and you have seen it now for the past year and a half as this race has been going on, that's starting to fall by the wayside. It's like you're starting to get some honest numbers now. Do you care about the polls? Do you watch them very closely, or do you gauge it really more anecdotally as you're out there meeting these Democrats that you say and Republicans that you say and Americans that you say are just fed up?
Well, you know what, I can speak to each one of those polls, but it's interesting. You talk about the AP poll, and the AP poll is a sham. I mean, they oversample Democrats by 13%. And if you look at the primary, Joe, and you know this as well as anybody because you cover this all the time, Republicans actually came out +1 in the primaries. There was 1 more percent of Republicans that showed up during the primaries than Democrats. And historically, that's been the greatest predictor of who shows up on Election Day. And so Obama in his first term, and we all know Hillary's no Obama in terms of the enthusiasm, or the lack thereof that she has, right? And Obama had incredible enthusiasm in 2008. And in 2008, Obama won with Democrats +6. They're polling Democrats +13 in this election, and it's laughable. I mean, that poll is laughable. And what I can tell you is we're going to win this. I feel that strongly about it. I have more Democrats coming up to me every single day saying we're 1,000% behind your father, and we've never voted Republican before, but we're sick and tired of career politicians. in the Oval Office. And look at what we have, Joe, as a country. We have Obamacare in Arizona. It just went up 116%. You didn't get to keep your doctor. You didn't get to keep your plan, which was the famous two promises.
Oh,
and
yeah.
promise was that each family was going to save $2,500 a year. In fact, at one point, Obama said that health care will be less than your cell phone, right? Less than your cell phone bill. And we're seeing premiums go up by 116% in Arizona, 24.5% in North Carolina, and I can go down the list. I mean, the increases are staggering. The amount of people who are coming up to me every single day saying, I had to opt my entire family out of Obamacare because I can no longer afford it. So I used to have amazing coverage. My whole family had amazing coverage. Now we have no coverage. And the worst part, Eric, at the end of the year, I have to pay a $700 penalty because I can no longer afford, the coverage I have. And by the way, even if you can afford it, your deductible is so high that you can't even use it. I mean, your deductible is $10,000, $13,000. I mean, some of these deductibles are incredible. So, I mean, it's a sham. We've got an educational system in this country that's ranked 30th in the world. Reading comprehension is 34th. Math skills is 37th. We've got $20 trillion worth of debt. It's gone up by $11 trillion under President Obama. That's enough to pay off all student loans in this country 6 times over. 6 times over.
It's nuts.
We've spent $6 trillion in the Middle East, and every single day ISIS, harassing and killing and, hurting somebody else. We have a depleted military. We have 22 veterans every single day that take their own lives. I mean, what have our politicians gotten us? We have 95 million people on the workforce in this country. We've lost 70,000 factories since Bill Clinton signed NAFTA. 70,000, 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs. They've all left our country. They've gone overseas. I mean, what do we have? What have these politicians gotten the American people other than lining their own pockets?
No, it's an amazing story that you just told. You just laid it out. You just outlined exactly what the problem is and exactly why your dad has, in my opinion, a very good chance of winning. It's Eric Trump, the son of Donald J. Trump, the Republican nominee for president of the United States. I want to go back a little bit. Obamacare, the government itself under Obama has just admitted 25% increases next year across the board for everybody. And people are now saying in large mass, they're saying, I'm going to take the penalty. I'm not gonna buy insurance. I would rather take the IRS penalty than get insurance. You mentioned how horrible our educational system is. We pay the most money per student in the world, Eric. So at some point, you're going to have to get regular Americans need to get something from this government that we are supporting. And I think that your dad brings that. An interesting poll came out recently, and I'm sure that you've seen this. When it's on the issues, your dad beats her 2-1, 3-1 even. When it's on personality for some reason, or when it's on who has the experience, she beats him. In the last week and a half, 2 weeks, your dad has really honed in on the message. I am the businessman. I've employed people. Well, we are going to end NAFTA. We're going to have borders, and we care about unemployment rates. We care about minority communities. That's really resonating, isn't it?
There's no question it's resonating. I mean, look at the minority communities. I mean, I'm so glad you brought that one up. But, President Obama, his hometown of Chicago, has had 3,000 shootings this year. He hasn't been back there once. He's never once gone given a big address, hey, guys, we need to cut out the nonsense. We're better than this as Americans. Come on. He's never tried to solve the problem. Instead, He's playing golf in Martha's Vineyard. And, it's a real problem. I mean, look at the crisis down in Louisiana. Louisiana was totally underwater. People had lost their houses. Coffins were floating down the street. People's lives were destroyed. And President Obama was playing golf. And Hillary Clinton was doing $250,000 a plate fundraising dinners in the Hamptons while my father and Mike Pence were down there handing out, relief supplies. Look at North Carolina. My wife's from North Carolina. She just spent a week in the state handing out disaster relief supplies and trying to help people in any way she could around her own home state. And where is the president? I mean, where's the president? Where are our government officials? People's lives are turned upside down and they do nothing about it. They're not there to help. And, Joe, we pay the highest taxes in the world. We deserve, our government's supposed to be there to help the country, right? I know that's an oxymoron, but they're supposed to be there to assist. They do nothing. They're an impediment to business. We're losing our companies, right? I mean, our infrastructure is terrible, right, compared to other developed nations around the world. Look at our schools. Look at our airports. Look at everything we do. What are we getting for paying the highest taxes in the world? I'd be fine paying the highest taxes in the world if everything was perfect and we had the biggest military, and we had the newest military, and we had, veterans were being taken care of impeccably well, and healthcare was perfect, and our educational system was ranked number 1. And, we had a surplus. I mean, instead of a $20 trillion deficit. But what are we getting for, $20 trillion worth of debt and the highest taxes in the world? I mean, it's really incredible. It's really incredible. Our politicians are doing a terrible job, and it's got to stop. And the amount of fraud and waste and abuse out there is just unfathomable. And I can tell you, my father will put an end to it on day one. He will quit the nonsense. He will cut the nonsense, and it's going to end. It's just going to end, and that's why we're going to win this thing.
It's Eric Trump. Eric, I want to quickly ask you about early voting. You know that I'm in San Antonio. In Texas alone, on day one of early voting, 20,000 more people on day one than we had 4 years earlier. And all the numbers seem to show that more people who are showing up to early vote are Republicans. Are you getting that from every state, and how do you feel about that?
Honestly, every state, and it's such a great testament. It's not one of those things that the mainstream media likes to report, which is kind of really sad. But
Yeah.
I'm in Nevada right now, and we're certainly seeing that here. I mean, the numbers are great. North Carolina, same thing. Florida, our numbers are awesome in Florida. I mean, they're really, really awesome. I mean, by every metric, we're beating the 2012 numbers by a landslide. And I mean, we're really doing phenomenal. And you know, again, people are coming out who've never voted before. People are coming out who thought that, you know what, under most traditional candidates, they wouldn't have a voice, no matter who won. You know, Democrats, Republicans, they wouldn't have a voice. So you know, they were going to stay at home, and they're coming out. And you know, people want somebody who, you know, sometimes Joe, my father's brutally honest. Sometimes he's too honest.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, sometimes he's too honest. And the one thing I'll say about my father is he'll never lie. He will never lie to the American people. He calls it as it is. There's no sound bites. There's no little memorized, pre-rehearsed lines. You know, he speaks like a person, and he understands the problems. And he's an amazing leader, and he's been an amazing doer his entire life. He knows how to cut through nonsense and get things done, and that's what he'll do for the country. It's just that simple. And our politicians are the exact opposite. I mean, look at
Right.
his work schedule. Look at how hard he worked and the amount of energy he has on the campaign trail versus the other side. You know, that's what we need in the we need somebody who's a worker,
Well,
who's a doer.
he's tireless. I don't know how he does it at his age. He makes me tired looking at him. I'm a lot younger than he is. I mean, you guys are honestly like Energizer bunnies out there, but I guess that's what you have to do. And Hillary Clinton is quite literally taking a nap or doing these high fundraising, you know, per plate events. Last question. I know you got to go, and I really appreciate the access and the time, Eric. But last question: a week and a half. That's all you have. A week and a half for all the marbles. How hard will the push be? And is there one top agenda item, or you show up and you do what you have to do? I mean, is there one thing that you have to push, one message in the last week and a half?
Yeah, well, you know, we're a family that does what it takes to get it done. That's how we work. That's how we work in business. That's how we work in life. And you know, I have no aspirations to go into politics, but I can tell you, I will fight every second between now and November 8th to make sure we make this, you know, win this thing. Because this is, you know, we have the greatest country in the world, and it's truly being run by incompetent people. And my father is an amazing guy, and he's doing this for the right reason. He's invested so much of his own money in this campaign. You know, he wants to fix the problems. He's a man that did not have to run for commander-in-chief. He certainly didn't need the stress and the heartache.
Right.
The country's given our family everything, and you know, we've got to take it back from the politicians who do a terrible job. And we're going to win this thing. And believe me, Ivanka and myself and Don, we're going to work every single day. You know, we have the greatest father in the world, and he will do an amazing job. And by the way, if I didn't believe that, Joe, I wouldn't be out here fighting every single day alongside of him, like I have. I mean, we'll do such an incredible job for this country, and we'll make America great again, and he'll make us incredible.
Well, you and your siblings are certainly, you know, great advocates for your dad, and you're right. I mean, we wouldn't see you out there if you didn't believe in him. Eric, we always appreciate the access and the time. Got to go to a quick break here. We're back after this on the Joe Pags Show.